Welcome to Craving the Heat, where desire takes the lead and every story leaves you wanting more. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments and keep up with our latest naughty stories. It all started on an ordinary Friday night with a routine dinner and a quiet evening in. My husband, Alex, and I had been married for 5 years, and while we loved each other, the spark seemed to have dimmed over the past few months. Work stress, household duties, and the pressures of daily life had drained us both. Our connection, once so passionate, now felt more like a partnership than anything else. Still, I believe we were solid. Alex had been working late, and by the time he came home that night, he was exhausted. After dinner, he said he was going to bed early to get some rest for an important meeting the next morning. I kissed him goodnight, and as he retreated to the bedroom, I settled on the couch to watch a movie. It was during that time that I heard a knock on the door. At first, I thought it was a neighbor or perhaps a package being delivered. But when I opened the door, I found someone I hadn't expected. Nathan. He was Alex's best friend, someone I had known for years. He looked a bit out of breath, almost as if he had rushed over. "Is Alex asleep?" he asked, his voice a little too quiet. "Yeah," I replied, somewhat puzzled by his sudden appearance. "What brings you here at this hour?" Nathan shifted uncomfortably on the doorstep. "Can we talk? I need to tell you something. Something important." I hesitated for a moment. I knew Nathan was a kind person, but there was always a certain level of tension between us, nothing obvious, just an undercurrent I couldn't ignore. I had always sensed that Nathan had more than just friendly feelings toward me, though he never acted on them. "Sure, come in," I said, stepping aside to let him in. We sat down on the couch, and the silence between us grew thick. Nathan's demeanor was different tonight, nervous, almost guilty. I couldn't put my finger on it. He cleared his throat before speaking again. "I've been struggling with something for a while, and I need you to understand before I say anything. It's not easy for me to talk about, but I can't keep it in anymore." I felt a chill run through me. Whatever he was about to say, I knew it would be significant. "I'm listening," I said, trying to remain calm even though my heart was beginning to race. Nathan looked down at his hands as if searching for the right words. "I've been in love with you for a long time. Ever since we first met, actually." His voice was steady but laced with emotion. "But that's not all. What I need to confess is I've been seeing someone else. It's been going on for months. And I know it's wrong, but I couldn't stop it." I blinked, my mind struggling to process his words. "What do you mean, Nathan?" My voice trembled as I tried to keep my composure. "Are you telling me that you've been cheating on Alex? With someone else?" He nodded, his eyes filled with regret. "Yes, but it's not just that. I've been struggling with it, torn between the feelings I have for you and the loyalty I've always felt toward Alex. I never meant for it to go this far, but it did." I sat there in stunned silence. My heart thudded in my chest, and I could barely breathe. My mind reeled as I tried to make sense of everything he was saying. Just couldn't be real. Nathan, Alex's best friend, the man I thought was my ally, had been seeing someone else. And not only that, he had fallen in love with me. "Why are you telling me this now?" I whispered, barely able to speak. "Because I can't keep living with this guilt," he admitted. "I've been hiding this from Alex, and it's tearing me apart. I thought that if I could just get this off my chest, I could finally stop, but I don't know how to fix things anymore." Tears began to well in my eyes. This wasn't happening. This was a nightmare, a twisted version of reality. The man I trusted, the man who had been a part of my life for so many years, had betrayed me in the most unimaginable way. "You're telling me this now, after all this time?" I asked, my voice trembling. "What about Alex? How could you do this to him, to me?" "I know," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I can't explain it, but I've made terrible choices. I just wanted you to know the truth. You deserve to know. I never wanted to hurt you, but I couldn't keep hiding it anymore." His words echoed in my mind, but they didn't make sense. The confusion, the shock, the betrayal, it was all too much. I had trusted Nathan. I had trusted him as a friend, someone who had always been there for us. And now he was telling me he had feelings for me, feelings that had led to something far worse than I could ever imagine. As the minutes passed, I felt a wave of anger rise within me. How could he do this to Alex? How could he betray our friendship? And how could I have been so blind to what had been happening right under my nose? I need to go, I said, standing up abruptly. I can't talk to you right now. Nathan didn't move. He simply sat there watching me, knowing that everything had changed in an instant. I'm sorry, he whispered. I never wanted to hurt you. I walked to the door, trying to steady my shaking hands as I opened it. Please leave. As Nathan stepped out into the night, I felt a sense of emptiness settle in my chest. The world I had known for years had shattered. My marriage, my trust in Nathan, my entire sense of security, all of it felt like it was crumbling beneath me. I went to bed that night with tears streaming down my face, unable to sleep. The betrayal weighed heavily on me, and I knew that things would never be the same again. The confession Nathan had made had shaken me to my core, and the only thing I could think about was how to confront Alex in the morning. What I didn't know then was that this was only the beginning. The lies, the secrets, and the truth would come out, but it would take more than just a confession to mend the broken pieces of my life. The next morning, I woke up with a heavy heart, the events of the previous night still fresh in my mind. I stared at the ceiling, trying to process everything that had happened. How could Nathan, the man I had considered a friend, betray me in such a way? How could he love me and yet hurt me by getting involved with someone else? My mind was swirling with questions, but the one that haunted me the most was, how could Alex not know? Alex had always trusted Nathan, and I had always trusted both of them. How could they have kept this from me? How could they have hidden it so well? The weight of the betrayal felt unbearable, and I was still trying to wrap my head around the fact that Nathan had admitted his feelings for me. Had he always felt this way, or had it just developed over time? Had there been moments, small glances, subtle gestures that I'd missed? I had never thought of Nathan in that way, but now I couldn't help but wonder if I'd been blind to something all along. As I lay there, I could hear the faint sounds of Alex moving around in the other room. He was getting ready for his meeting. Just like any other day, the normalcy of the moment felt surreal compared to the storm brewing in my mind. I knew I had to talk to him. The truth had to come out, and it had to come from me. Nathan had already confessed, but I owed it to Alex to tell him everything. I dragged myself out of bed, my feet heavy with the burden of what I had to do. I found Alex in the kitchen, sipping his coffee, looking as if nothing had changed. He smiled when he saw me, but there was a weariness in his eyes that I hadn't noticed before. "Morning, babe," he said, his voice soft. "You okay? You look a little off." I wanted to tell him everything right then and there, but the words caught in my throat. How could I break his heart like this? How could I tell him that his best friend, the man he trusted with everything, had betrayed him? How could I destroy the life we had built together? I took a deep breath, gathering the courage to speak. "Alex, there's something we need to talk about." His expression changed immediately. He put his coffee cup down and walked over to me, concern etched across his face. "What's wrong?" "You're scaring me." I hesitated, but I knew there was no other choice. I couldn't keep this secret any longer. "Nathan was here last night," I said, my voice shaky. "He confessed something to me. Something that ... I don't even know how to say. He told me that he's been in love with me for a long time, and that he's been seeing someone else." Alex's face froze, and I could see his jaw tighten. He was trying to process what I had just said, but his eyes were full of confusion and disbelief. Wait, what do you mean he's been seeing someone else? And ... in love with you?" His voice was rising with each word, but I could hear the hurt in it too. I nodded, feeling tears well up in my eyes. "I know this is hard to believe, but it's true. He said he couldn't hide it anymore. He confessed to me last night, and I didn't know how to handle it. He's been lying to both of us, Alex. The words hung in the air between us, thick with the weight of everything they meant. Alex stood there, staring at me, his face a mix of disbelief and pain. I could see the moment when it hit him, the realization that his best friend, the person he trusted the most, had been hiding this from him. I could see the hurt in his eyes, and it was like a knife twisting in my chest. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" he asked quietly, his voice breaking. "How long has this been going on?" "I didn't know how to tell you," I replied, feeling guilty. "For not saying anything sooner, I didn't want to hurt you. But Nathan ... he was here last night. He came to confess everything, and I couldn't keep it from you any longer." Alex's hands clenched into fists at his sides, and I could see the storm brewing inside him. "I can't believe this," he muttered, his voice barely audible. "I trusted Nathan with everything. And now ... this." His words hit me like a punch to the stomach. I could see the devastation on his face, and I hated myself for causing it, but I couldn't undo what had happened. I couldn't take back the pain that Nathan had caused, and I couldn't change the fact that everything had been turned upside down in an instant. Alex stood there for what felt like an eternity, his eyes scanning my face, searching for any sign that I was lying. But I couldn't lie about something like this. I had never wanted to hurt him, and yet here we were on the verge of losing everything because of the lies Nathan had told. "Do you ... do you love him?" Alex asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Is that what this is? Are you in love with him?" The question felt like a punch to the gut, and I shook my head immediately. "No, Alex. I swear to you, I don't love Nathan. I love you. I've always loved you." Alex didn't respond. He just walked past me, running his hands through his hair as if he were trying to process everything. I could hear him muttering to himself, but the words were too soft for me to catch. I wanted to reach out to him, to hold him and make him understand. That I hadn't chosen this, that I hadn't wanted any of this to happen. But the truth was, I had no idea how to fix this. Nathan had confessed his feelings, and I couldn't erase the damage he had done. I couldn't take back the trust he had shattered, and I couldn't undo the guilt I felt for not seeing it sooner. "Alex, I'm sorry," I whispered, my voice breaking. "I never wanted this to happen. I never wanted to hurt you." But Alex didn't say anything. He just turned and walked out of the kitchen, leaving me standing there, feeling as if everything I knew was crumbling to dust around me. I didn't know what the future held. I didn't know if Alex and I could survive this, or if Nathan would ever redeem himself in his eyes. All I knew was that my life had changed forever, and I was no longer sure if there was any way back from the betrayal that had shattered everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and friendship. The days following that conversation were a blur. Alex withdrew into himself, spending long hours at work and avoiding me when he was home. The distance between us felt like a canyon, one that had formed overnight and was too wide to bridge. Every time I tried to talk to him, he would shut down, his responses curt and devoid of the warmth I once cherished. It was as if everything we had built together was slipping through my fingers, and I had no idea how to stop it. Nathan, on the other hand, tried to reach out several times. He left messages, sent texts, but I couldn't bring myself to talk to him. His betrayal had cut too deep. The love he confessed to me, even though he had never acted on it, made me question everything about our relationship. He had been in my life for so long, but now it felt like he was just a stranger, a man who had lied, manipulated, and hurt the person I loved most. For days, I sat in silence, trying to piece together what had gone wrong. I couldn't stop thinking about Alex. I loved him more than anything. Despite everything that had happened, he was the one who had always stood by me, the one who had shared my dreams and aspirations. Yet, now it felt like we were both trapped in a web of lies and confusion, unable to break free. Then one evening, as the sun set and the soft glow of the golden hour filled our home, Alex and I found ourselves in the living room together. He was sitting on the couch, a glass of water in his hand, staring out the window as if lost in thought. The silence between us was thick, almost suffocating, but neither of us said anything. Finally, Alex put down his glass and turned toward me. His eyes were tired, but there was a sadness in them that I couldn't ignore. "I don't know how we got here," he said quietly, his voice heavy with emotion. "I don't know what happened to us, to me, to everything." I could feel the weight of his words pressing down on me. It was as if he was speaking not just about Nathan, but about us, the way we had drifted apart, the way we had become strangers, living under the same roof. My heart ached at the thought of losing him. "I don't know either," I whispered, taking a step closer. "But Alex, I love you. I've always loved you. And I'm not going to let this ... whatever this is, tear us apart." He looked at me, his eyes searching mine, as if trying to find something he had lost. "I want to believe that," he said softly. "But how can we move forward after everything that's happened? After Nathan's betrayal, after the lies?" I reached out, taking his hand in mine, feeling the warmth of his skin against my own. "We start over, we rebuild. It won't be easy, but I'm willing to fight for us. For you, Alex, because I know that we're worth fighting for." For a long moment, he didn't speak. He just looked at me, his gaze filled with a mixture of pain and longing. And then, as if something inside him finally broke, he pulled me into his arms, holding me close. "I don't know if I can forgive him," Alex whispered against my hair. "But I know I don't want to lose you. I love you more than I've ever loved anything in this world." Tears welled in my eyes, and I hugged him tighter, feeling the rush of emotions that had been building up for days. The betrayal, the heartbreak, it was all still there, but in that moment, I knew that we could get through it. We could rebuild, we could heal, and we could find our way back to each other. As the night fell, we sat together in the living room, not saying much, just being there for one another. Slowly, Alex began to open up, sharing his thoughts, his fears, and his pain. He admitted that part of him felt betrayed by Nathan, but another part of him struggled with the idea of losing me. It wasn't just about the betrayal. It was about the life we had built together, and the fear of not knowing what came next. "I'm scared," he confessed. "I'm scared of losing you. But I'm even more scared of never having us again." And that's when I knew. That's when I knew that no matter how difficult the road ahead would be, we had something worth fighting for. I kissed him, my lips finding his in a slow, desperate kiss that spoke of all the words we had left unsaid. Our kiss deepened, filled with the intensity of our emotions, the love, the pain, the hope, and the promise that we would rebuild together. For the first time in days, I felt the spark between us again. The passion that had dimmed in the wake of betrayal reignited, as if all the pain had somehow transformed into something more powerful, something stronger. Our connection, once tested by the weight of the truth, now felt unbreakable. In that moment, I realized that love wasn't just about the good times. It wasn't just about the easy days. Love was about weathering the storms, facing the darkness, and still finding a way to hold on to each other. We weren't perfect, and our journey wasn't going to be easy. But in that passionate kiss, in that embrace, I knew that we were starting a new chapter, together. The night passed slowly, but it didn't matter. We didn't need words anymore. We didn't need to say anything. We just needed to be with each other to remind ourselves of what we had and what we could have again. The betrayal was a scar, a painful reminder of the past, but our love was the healing force that would carry us forward by morning. Things weren't perfect, but they were better. We had found our way back to each other, and that was enough. And as I lay next to Alex, his arms wrapped around me, I knew that no matter what happened with Nathan, no matter what the future held, we would face it together. Our love was stronger than any betrayal, stronger than any pain, and it was something worth fighting for. And with that realization, I closed my eyes, feeling the warmth of Alex's embrace, knowing that no matter the challenges, the love we shared would always be the anchor that held us steady.